It's almost tax time, and everybody who's starting a business or wants to start a business needs to know what expenses are deductible and which aren't. Stick around and I'll tell you. As always, if you enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Hey YouTube, it's your girl, The Real Teddy Talks, educating you daily on entrepreneurship, your hustle and your grind, and building generational wealth. Today, let's talk about deductible business expenses. So I just did a video about the financial side of starting a business, and it dawned on me, I wanted to do a tax series, right? So I'm just gonna get it out of the way now. Let's talk about deductible business expenses. I have pulled up the irs.gov website, and I'm gonna go through deductible business expenses so that you know this was last updated November of 2020, so it's current information. I'm just going to spitball it and hit you with it so you know what expenses are deductible and which aren't. So first it says that business expenses that you plan to deduct must be ordinary and necessary. Ordinary in a nutshell means it must be an expense that is known in your industry. So if I am a CPA and I have to keep up some kind of annual certification, then the ordinary expense for my business is whatever it costs for me to pay for that annual certification. If I have to do annual testing, that is an ordinary expense. So business expenses that are necessary, they're expenses like your license, legal fees, accounting fees, software, recurring expenses. I just mentioned in my previous video about the financial side of starting a business. All of these, they must be directly associated with your business and it must be known. You don't want to try to loop something in like a vacation to Tahiti and think that that's an ordinary and necessary expense unless you're a travel blogger. Then that's an ordinary necessary expense. You see how you can kind of bring those two together. It's also important to separate the cost of goods sold. That means the expenses that go into you creating goods and products and services need to be separated from your normal expenses. And also you want to separate out capital expenses and personal expenses. I'll get into that more. Now your cost of goods sold expenses are all expenses associated with inventory. I'm going to kind of leave that as a separate field, and we're not going to talk about it now because that's separate from the focus of this video, which is the business expenses that you're going to be deducting. So let's get right into business expenses. What's a business expense versus a personal expense? A business expense is an expense that goes directly to the use of your business. Now you can intermingle some personal expenses and business expenses. For example, and it's the same example on the irs.gov website, if you took out a loan, and you took out a personal loan, not, determined for business per se, because you're a sole proprietor and you didn't want to take a business loan, but you used 70% of that loan towards your business, then you can deduct the interest from 70% of that loan. So if you take a $1,000 loan and it's at 10% interest rate, God forbid, but I'm just using round numbers here. You took out a $1,000 loan and it's a 10% interest rate, you're going to be paying $100 a year on that $1,000, and 70% of it you use for your business. So that is $70 that you can deduct on your taxes for that business. These are big round numbers, but you're getting the picture, right? I mentioned in the previous video, if you have a cell phone bill, and that cell phone bill is used to conduct business, I personally would deduct 100% of that cell phone bill. However, if you're working from a home office and your office is 100 square feet and your home is 1,000 square feet, 10% of your home is used for that office. So if your utility bill is $200 a month, then you can deduct $20, that's 10% of $200, $20 every month for that year can be deducted towards your business expenses. You catching my drift? So whatever percentage you use a personal thing for towards your business, that can be deductible if it's a legit business expense. So that falls under business use of your home. Then we have business use of your car. If you are a service provider, you travel for your business. You go to meetings, you go to coffee dates, you go to lunches, dinners, you travel to and from the airport, and you have business use of your vehicle, then you need to be tracking the mileage on that. You need to be tracking the maintenance on that. So you're going to get your car maintained, right? So you don't use your car 100% for business because obviously you have a life, you have a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend, kids. So you are using your vehicle for some personal use. But if you say 10% of the day, I like 10%, it's easy to figure out, right? 10% of that use is for business. Then if your oil change costs $50, then $5 of that you can claim towards business expense. It's very simple, but you have to be kind of detailed. You have to be tracking these expenses. You have to know this, and you have to be reviewing your expenses so you know when to add it and put it in your Quicken, QuickBooks, HoneyBook, whatever you're using, or that you give to your accountant or your bookkeeper or your CPA. And they should be asking you these questions. If you send them a spreadsheet every month and they don't see your vehicle maintenance on there, or they don't see your monthly utilities, they need to send you an email and say, hey, Bob, you didn't put this on here. Are you not claiming it? Because you know you can claim it as a business expense. And if you don't have someone that's on your team asking you those questions, find somebody else. And another type of expense that you can claim on your business expenses is employee expenses, insurance expenses, if you're paying into anyone's retirement plan, including your own, any expenses associated with that, travel expenses, taxes, recurring fees, all of that. So if you have any ambiguity about what I just said, please visit irs.gov, type in deductible business expenses. It's a very short page that kind of goes into it for you, so you're not left wondering. You're not just going on my word or somebody else's word. You have the IRS information, and this is for, of course, people, Americans from the United States. I'm sure whatever country you're in, if it's not that, has its own version of that. But check from the source, all right? Get your information from the source, and then go forth and grow. Invest in yourself just 1% a day. Have phenomenal results at the end of the year and reach your exponential greatness. This is The Real Teddy Talks, signing off.
Listen.